record um, because we do have a very special treat today, and Shor is going to be talking to us about hope, healthy outcomes from positive experiences, which is a pretty empowering framework um, that was designed, it came out of working with children, but it really has applications across the lifespan. So I will hand it over to Shore.
Okay, you guys, I kind of was thinking, what is hope and navigating change? And it's really a beautiful thing because this concept, theory, framework, whatever you want to call it, is so adaptable that it fits to really any environment. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. I'm asking for permission.
Got it.
So as Heather said, hope is healthy outcomes for positive experiences. And it's really an exceptional thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about it before, but we'll go through some of the information. I do want to say that I am Shor, and I have a master in psychology, and I do all kinds of things. I am the CEO of a nonprofit called Community Now. I'm the San Diego State Hope Champion, and I do quite a few other things. So I'm a little busy in the world. So let's start with this. Okay, look at this picture, you guys. And I just want you to kind of look at it for a few seconds, and then I'm going to pull it and ask you, but isn't there a lot going on in that picture? Can you name a few things that you see? What do you see?
Did you take that picture from my house?
I love that.
Did you sneak into my house?
So, hope has been presented in a lot of different environments, right? They have a lot of different pictures that they can use for this activity. I like this picture, and I like it because of the chaos that's in it. And when you look at it, you see so much. Now, what I want to know was what came out to you? What really kind of popped out at you when you were looking at it?
Yeah,
For me,
I'll say. Oh, go ahead,
okay.
Albie. Yeah.
No, for me, it's the baby in the pan that is looking at everybody is like, are you all crazy? Pay attention to me. He's the only one that looks sane in there.
Mm.
Okay. Fernando?
Yeah, I was gonna say it looked like there was an adult on the couch that seemed distracted from everything that was going on. Looked like a TV, but kids everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like an adult, like just focused on like a phone or a tablet. Seemed kind of
Right,
interesting.
right. Lori, you're probably not able to talk. Heather, do you want to?
Yeah, I noticed the things that popped out to me this time, because I've seen this picture a few times, so it's interesting the different things that I see. Lori did just say she saw chaos, yeah. But I noticed the cleaning supplies, um, and I noticed the big Jesus picture.
You noticed those this time. That's really great. Now, what I want to talk about is this concept blew my mind, and it's called type 1, type 2 thinking. With type 1 thinking, it's kind of what we know. It's been built into us. It's our years of experience, our implicit bias, our training. It's everything. So when you first see that picture, the first thing that comes into your mind is everything that you've been rehearsed, right? Everything that you've known, that you've been told, that you've been taught. But when you kind of look that way, it brings up perceptions. And one of the things that I want to say is that perceptions don't have to be reality, right? So it's depending on where you're at in your day, in your mindset, really very arbitrary things that go into what you decide when you see a picture, right? What's going to pop out at you. And what we see again is that when you have a lot of stress, when you have a lot of things going on, that perception can be turned upside down to where you think that even good things are bad, right? Nothing is coming out good for you. So there's this thing called type 2 thinking, and that's where you stop, take a breath, and kind of what Heather did. She's had time to kind of simmer on that picture, and when she came back at it, she was able to see more than what was first coming to her mind of what she's trained to see, or what she's looking for. So that when you do type 2 thinking, it's problem solving, it's taking a moment, taking a breath, and re-examining what you're looking at. And that's in everything, right? A big workload, you get a big workload on your desk. The first thing you do is go into type 1 thinking, oh my freaking God, all this work, what am I going to do, right? You go, oh gosh, your timeline in your head is gone. It's going to take me a month. But then you stop and you sit there and you look at that stack and you go, oh, I have 3 people that can work with me. You start pulling things that, oh, now that stack doesn't look as intimidating once you took that moment. So when we look back at the picture, after taking that moment, and really looking at the content, when I do this with social workers and stuff, in the beginning, they're like, oh my God, the holes, the bugs, they go for all of that. But then when you come back and look, as Heather said, you can see that number one, bugs and holes, that's not the responsibility, or does not have to be because of the tenant, right? It can be where they could afford to live, and the circumstances where they live. So we can't fault them for that, right? But then you look deeper and you see, like Heather said, there's cleaning supplies, there's work boots right there, right? So somebody's trying to get something done. That looks like chaos, but actually when you look at the picture, the kids are all together, the family is together, they seem at peace within their own space, right? Mom, yeah, she's smoking cigarettes, but there's pizza, so they're eating. So it's the good and the bad. How can you see them both in your life? And that is the introduction to Hope to me. And Hope says that their vision is a world that recognizes, honors, and promotes positive experiences because they're fundamental to people's health and well-being. I come from a trauma-informed background, and I've been doing trauma-informed work for the last 15 years. So when it comes to me and they talk about, adverse childhood experiences, I love them. I don't know if you guys know your score or know about adverse childhood experiences, but I would suggest that you do find that out. And it has to do with trauma levels, things that happen to you before the age of 18, and you get a score. I'm always very transparent, you guys. And so I'm just going to talk to you like I talk to everybody else, right? So I have 10. I have everything in the middle has happened to me. So I have a score of 10. If you go to that other adversity, I have 2 more. So I have an A score of 12. When you look at that just through the ACE lens, I should be dead now. There's no way I should be holding a job, because they say that there are very negative things that come from that ACE score, right? And I incorporate this slide because when we're talking about ACEs, it becomes very mental, and it becomes a point of really, are you stressed? Have you been traumatized? Well, trauma is stress. So are you overstressed? And I always ask people, do you see yourself? Because it doesn't really have to be trauma, these symptoms. Because if you're overstressed, you're traumatized, right? It's all in the words, right? But do you see you? Because I believe that we can empower each other by saying, these are my symptoms, and now I know how to deal with them, right? Instead of just saying, I just go crazy, I can't cope well, or all of these things. So self-reflection, identify, and then work with it. I have about 20 things on this sheet, y'all. So how do you cope? Well, with ACEs, what it says is, if you have those things on that sheet, and if you have such a high score like me, then these are going to be the outcomes, right? Traumatic brain things. And if we had more time, I could just go into so much, but anxiety, depression, right? Unwanted childbirth, right? HIV and disease, cancer, all of these are things that happen to people with high ACEs because they do not cope well. They usually cope negatively with drinking, smoking, fighting, sex, and that's where these outcomes come from. So with Hope, it's saying, yeah, those adversities are out there, but the family still has strengths. and they capitalize on the strengths of the family. Hope was created for youth. It was created to build childhood experiences in our youth. But a byproduct of that is that it helps build positive experiences in us and adults as well. As we're trying to create these experiences for the youth and as we build hope into our lives. So, hope was developed by Lord, by Tufts Foundation. And they started doing their studies in 2015 with the population in Wisconsin. And these are called the breakfast studies that they do. So they talked about ACEs, right? Okay, what are ACEs doing and what is the impact that they have? And then they looked at positive experiences and they said there's got to be a way these do correlate, and how does that work? And that is what hope is. So instead of those 10 questions that we have for the ACE, we have 7 questions here for positive childhood experiences. I'm gonna give you a quick second, read the 7 and do a count. How many of them do you have? I only have 20 minutes. So with this, with the 7, looking at the 7 questions, out of these 7, when I first looked at this in my first Hope 101, whatever training it was, I was very disappointed because I had none. I could not think of one experience in my life of these, especially before the age of 18. And I had to go to type 1, type 2 thinking. And this is why it was powerful for me. Because when I hit type 1, I'm like, none of these are me. I felt so disappointed. I was like, that's why I have, you start going into, yeah, and that pity and huh. But when I stopped and had to sit back and reflect on my life, I was able to pick 2. Not 2 that went on for long periods in my life, but there was a teacher. My family was dysfunctional. My father told me in 5th grade that we were vegetarians. That's why we didn't eat, because we were starving. And I went to school. I was standing on the school campus, and it's 5th grade, and they're in the lunch line, and I was standing outside of it. The teacher came to me and said, "Sure, why are you standing here?" And I said, "Because we're vegetarians," right? 5th grade. The teacher put me in the lunch line, and I had lunch from that day forward. It was so impactful to me. I still remember what I had for lunch that day. So
Wow.
that is a powerful, positive experience from my youth that did build resilience in me, right? And help me to keep going. And that is the theory of positive childhood experiences. It doesn't have to mean that it was your whole life that you were carried on a pillow, and it just means that positive things came at you throughout your life. And the studies say that if you have 0 to 2, which I have, that you have 51% chance of having better mental health, right? 3 to 5, if you had 3 to 5, whatever your score was, 75% chance of having better mental health, and 6 to 7, 87%, which means less people were reporting anxiety, depression, things like that. And then they did another study, and it was showing that an increase in having those high PCE scores reduce chronic conditions. I'm going to tell you this is all aligned with the ACEs, because the ACEs told you that if you had these things, that these outcomes were going to happen. And what this is saying is that if you bring positivity into it, even though you have that score, you don't have to have the negative outcomes. You can build resilience. There are a million studies on a breakfast, so I only pulled 2 that I really think are impactful, and also shows that not only does it here impact mental health, physical health, but it also impacts your life, right? It reduces lower depression, higher heart rates, improves physical health, more likely to be employed. They say that people with ACEs have higher pay rates, they get more jobs, they have happier lives because of that resilience that positivity builds into their life. Their research actually indicated that you have more damage done to you by not having positive experiences. Forget your ACE score. If you have 10, 20 ACEs and you have all of the positive experiences to go to kind of support you, you should be fine. It's when you don't have positive experiences that your life actually gets impacted. With the negativity. No positive experiences, just think where your head would go. Negative. There's no hope. So hope is the now what to the childhood adverse experience. And I do see that. I tell you, I'm into coping strategies and the ACE. That's really my world. But when I found out this 4 building blocks of hope and how they could be incorporated into the mix, it blew me away by looking at 4 fundamentals. I've been working 10 years trying to figure out, how do you get a person from ACE to coping to resilience? How do you build that? And they did. They brought in this framework that says that no matter your family, no matter your background, no matter you, if you put these 4 building blocks into action in your life, you improve your life. You improve the lives of those around you, the youth around you, and you build resilience and power. Now, the 4 building blocks, relationships. Now, isn't that simple? This is not going to be rocket science. So, relationships, building those in your life, positive ones, strong relationships that you can build with, give and take in, helps build you and helps your youth. See, number one, you modeling healthy relationships, as well as how the benefit of having friends and having those relationships. Relationships help with any aspect of our lives, right? Really, any aspect. The next building block is environment. And I think it's an important part of it because everyone needs safety. You need to, at some place, to be yourself and to feel safe being yourself. So safe and equitable environments means making sure that there are locks on the door at the very basic, right? But it also means bringing things that are loving and playful and engaging into the environment, making sure that not only you have engagement, do puzzles in your house, you guys play games, or bring that relationship and engagement into your environment. So with your families, right? It's engaging with the family, ensuring that not that you both feel safe in the environment, and that wherever you go is a safe environment. The engagement, social and civic engagement, is so powerful to emotional growth and to engagement, connection, and relationships, because it helps you find your center. Where do I fit in this world? Where do I have the power to build? What can I do? So social engagement, engaging with your friends, your family, builds goodwill. It also increases the oxytocin level within your body, which reduces pain, reduces depression, and all of those things. So being and having positive environments and engaging in positive things, and even if it's not positive, bringing a positive attitude, that type 1, type 2 thinking into there, helps build positivity where there was none. Emotional growth is the 4th block. And I feel that if you're even trying to bring hope into your life, you're building your emotional growth. And it's through interacting, building those positive relationships, making sure you have a positive environment, right? And just building on what you're probably already doing it on purpose, and knowing that there's an element of hope that goes with it. So, man, I swam through that. You guys, I'm going to give myself a clap. So, how do you promote hope in your life is really what this box is saying. And I hope I have time. I'd like for each of you, the 4 building blocks, just quickly to say, how does which block impacts you the most, or do you feel connected to the most, and why?
I don't necessarily want to go first, but I do want to say, Shor, don't feel like you're pressured for time. I know I said like 20-ish minutes, but we can take as much time as we need for this part of the discussion for sure, because this is where the meat is.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heather. I got through it. Oh, but okay, I think I did pretty good. Okay.
You are great.
You guys, I'll model so that you guys can kind of, so I love all of the blocks, right? But for me, they change. The one that I connect to most changes with my life and the day and the moment. So right now, I really feel engagement is the block that I'm connected to. I'm engaging with you and sharing how to fulfill your life with hope. So engagement is powerful for me. I try to make sure that those that I engage with are positive. They're building power in their lives and and mine. And engagements are so important to really my job because I am, an entrepreneur. I'm out here on my own. So I'm out here and those engagements help me in my business life as well as my personal life. So who's next? You want me to popcorn or you guys want to say it yourself?
I can go next. I think for me, environment is one that just knowing that I'm in a safe place. It kind of a little bit ties in
Got
with
kicked out.
relationships. Um, to have people I know, people I trust, within those environments that make, whether it is going to the office or, out and about in the store, even just at home, just making them feel a welcoming and warm place that you fill it with laughter, just really comfortable with the place that you're at.
It's so important, right, to feel safe and comfortable. So important. And what is your mental state if you're not? If you're not safe and comfortable somewhere, how are you feeling?
You're like anxious and stressed. You're more worried. You figure, you know, whatever it is, it's who's coming by, you're just, kind of thrown off, just
Right.
uncomfortable, very
Right. You
uncomfortable,
can't really concentrate or think because you're kind of. So yeah, thank you. I love that one. Who wants to go next?